Hello, anybody who might see this. There's at least 3 or 4 people who watch my videos, so thank you. I am making the second installment on the resurrection of the SV650. This guy. I am doing it inside because I had to wash it, and someone put me in charge of this tiny terror. So she's wearing a vintage Knight Rider shirt, by the way. My older cousin had that, and then I got it from him, and somehow I ended up keeping it forever. So she's wearing a shirt that's older than me, probably. It's pretty cool. But anyway, I'm in charge of this maniac, so I'm doing this from the inside because she already got her clothes soaked once, and she ate a piece of poo that I swept. I swept everything, and I washed the patio, and somehow she still found it, and it's really embarrassing, and I hope she doesn't get sick. We'll be keeping an eye on that. I washed her mouth out real fast, so hopefully I got enough of anyway. So that's why I'm inside. I'm doing this from inside the glass so she doesn't get me into any more trouble. If you watch the other video when she fell and split her lip, I just want everybody to know her mom told me that she actually just had dry lips and it's been splitting open, so it really wasn't my fault. Anyway, so this video is yet another one where I'm actually not going to work on it, but I just wanted to kind of go over the way these things degrade if you let them sit. Cars, trucks, motorcycles, any of it really. They're made to be driven, and so when you park them, it's really bad for them. So without further ado, I will get this started. So assuming that you had a running, driving vehicle like this was, up on its maintenance, everything was really pretty good when I parked it, other than the front tire, which is part of the reason why I parked it in the first place. So what happens when you do something like that? I think for the most part, people have pretty good intentions. They think that they're going to save it for later. And that's actually not how it works. It actually really messes it up if you park something and walk away for 2 years or even 6 months, a year. Like, these things are made to be driven. So don't make my mistake. I don't have any excuses because I know exactly what happens to things when they park. And that's the other half of vehicles that kind of get abandoned, is people who they think, oh yeah, it's fine, I'll get back to it, and then they never get back to it. So first of all, the first thing that's going to go is the battery's going to drain. She's just watching me. She's like, you're a weirdo, Dad. Why are you making a video? Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares about your videos. But anyway, I want to help people, so that's why I make these videos. So first thing, your battery's going to drain, which is not too big of a deal if it's a good battery, good healthy battery. If you got back to it in 30 days, even 60 days-ish, maybe, if you're lucky, you could charge that sucker back up and it'd be fine for a little while. But if that battery is 2 years old, 3 years old, it's probably not going to come back. And I mean, people get lucky. There's better quality batteries, but for the most part, the battery's going to die forever if you leave it for more than a month or two. So yeah, that's in the 60 to 90 day period where the battery goes bad. What else goes bad in the 60 to 90 day period? Well, the fuel starts to go bad. Oh my gosh. See, I told you that she takes stuff out of the cupboard and makes a mess. There you go, witness. There, you were all my witness. Yeah. Oh, she didn't even get you. Yeah, the little rat dog sees that that's like her only chance to win a fight is with a baby. So she tries to pick on the baby, which is why she has to stay in the cage. And also in the 60 to 90 day period, the fuel starts to go bad. Now, I've kind of been lucky. I've parked things longer than that and started them up and drove it and had no problem. In fact, even with this bike, I've never, over the winter, I've never disconnected the battery. I've never drained the fuel. I've never put fuel stabilizer in there, and I've been lucky, which is kind of was my demise this time because I got a little cocky. But yeah, fuel does go bad. The fuel in this tank actually turned to powder. So that's over a year and a half period, but it turned to powder. So keep in mind, don't get cocky like I did. And with that, sorry, I keep on looking at a list because I get distracted so easily that I have to make a list or I get totally off the subject. The next thing, when that fuel goes bad, a lot of times it takes the fuel pump with it, which is bad news. Electric fuel pumps especially, because they've got tiny passages. They've got a sock that can get all clogged up. But even a manual fuel pump, or a mechanical fuel pump can still have the same thing happen. They've got seals and stuff in there, a diaphragm, and it eats it up. Time eats it up if it just sits in old gas. What else? Okay, yeah, oil, which people don't think about. A lot of people don't think about oil going bad. Yeah, oil goes bad. If it's conventional oil, it's going to go bad in that 60 to 90 day period. You don't want to look at me. You want to probably look at the bike. I don't blame you. Well, oil is going to go bad in that 60 to 90 day period if it's conventional oil. If it's gosh, she is causing a ruckus over here. If it's synthetic oil, then you're going to have about a year, but it's going to go bad in a year. And now we're getting into everything going bad, really. You let something sit for a year, all the rubber and plastic trim is going to start to go bad. If it's not covered, if it's in the sun, your plastic headlights. Sorry, had to pause for a second. I had an angry girl. Don't worry, not injured, just angry. Babies get grumpy real easily. Anyway, yeah, after a year, all your plastic trim, rubber trim, even seals inside the engine are going to start to go bad because they're made to be wet. They're made to be circulated with fluid. They're not made to sit. If they get dry, it's bad for them. And even tires start to go bad in that year. I mean, it takes a little longer for tires usually, unless any of them's got a leak. Once they start going flat, that puts too much pressure on those sidewalls. They start to crack, and the whole tire goes bad. Which tires should last. Sorry, this girl is shaking me up. Tires should last a while, you know. They should. Manufacturers say you need to change them every 5 years, no matter what. But people drive on tires for 10 years, thousands and thousands and thousands of miles, and everything's just fine. In fact, the baby mama, her grandpa drives tires. He buys used tires, and they'll be 12 years old sometimes when he buys them, and he puts them on his car and drives them. He drove on 12-year-old tires from Indiana and back. So think about it that way. 1 to 2 years for your tires to rot and go bad is a very short life for a tire, and that's all just from it sitting, going low because of the weather, and then the sidewalls start to crack, and those tires will never be good again. So basically, just kind of keep in mind, parking things for a long time is bad. If you've got something that you need to restore or needs work on it, get it done, or at the very least, at least like start it, drive it around every 30 to 60 days. I mean, there are things you can do. If you're going to only park it for a few months, you can definitely save that fuel. You can save that battery. Make sure you keep air in the tires. It's not that big of a deal. But if you just park it and leave it walk away, wash your hands of it for a little while, and forget about it, there's going to be problems. So I guess, what am I going to do about this motorcycle? Well, it definitely needs a battery. I'm going to have to take that whole fuel tank off and drain it and try to wash it out because it's got powder in there, and hope and pray that it didn't also destroy the fuel pump or the fuel injectors or both. Oh my gosh. See, again, not hurt. She's not hurt. She's just a screamer. She loves to scream. She's screaming at that dog. She is, when I say tiny terror, I mean it. She is a tiny terror. She never stops. Never stops. Never stops. All right, come here. Gosh. And then, if it's worth it after that, more things I'm going to have to correct. The seat's destroyed. I don't know if you can see that from here, but the seat rotted. That was a perfectly good seat when I parked it. Okay, it's dry enough. I let her loose. That way she'll stop screaming at me. But yeah, I'll have to replace the seat. I'm not sure if I can save that windscreen, but I will try with polish. And I actually already have... I don't know where I was. I had to pause again. But yeah, I'm going to have to change all the fluids. Luckily on motorcycles, all there is brake fluid and oil. But got to change the oil, got to change the brake fluid. That's something I forgot to mention. With fluids going bad, like your oil is going to go bad, so is your power steering fluid, all the fluids in the car. If you let it sit too long, you're going to have to change all of those. And with that, there's going to be scale and rust and sludge that they leave behind, because that shit's got to be circulated. It's got to be started and ran. But yeah, on this one, it's really going to depend on how it runs once it's running, and then we'll see how much I'll actually put into it. I might just sell it. I was kind of bored with it in the first place, which is kind of why it sat. There's like this huge following on SV650s. They're really pretty boring. There's not enough power there. People talk about, oh, I ride it more than my CBR 1000. No, you don't. Maybe you do, but if you do, that's because you're boring. They're not super fun. It's a nice bike, and it does have some power. I mean, you can go 125, 130 like that. Like, it just goes. Oh my Lord. What are you mad about now? What are you so mad about? Huh? Okay. Why are you climbing on that stuff? You climbing on the scooters? That's how you get hurt. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. If maybe a fuel controller, so I can maybe add some more power. Maybe change the sprocket, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to change that chain anyway. That was another thing that went bad on it. It's well, I'm sure it's bad. There's little seals in there, and it's rusty, so I'm sure the chain's bad. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how far this little video series goes, but it'll at least go to the point where it's running. Oh yeah, and spark plugs. Goodness, it's a long list. It's a list that will probably grow as it goes on, or it might come to a screeching halt when I get it running and just sell it to somebody, and I will be perfectly honest with them and tell them what happened, and hopefully they'll still want it. Alright, so anyway, that's the end for this video. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, but the whole point is mainly, don't park stuff. Don't leave it. It eats itself alive. Time eats it. Nature eats it.